Good point.
Right, let's get started, everybody. So we're going to be doing a Q&A now. I've got like 10 questions that people have sent me before we got here. There's some that have got names and some that haven't. I'm just going to put no names to them because I can't remember who wants to remain anonymous or not, so it's not really that relevant. If it was your question, feel free to jump in the conversation anyway. And then when we run out of questions, we'll just do Q&A with the floor. And basically, just go into anything that you've picked up today, or literally make it as personal and about yourself as you want. It doesn't need to be something that's relevant to everybody. We've got a mixture here of questions that are business related. We've got a mixture of like systems, jiu-jitsu curriculum type stuff. So we'll obviously I'll fire certain questions to certain people, but then everyone might jump in as well. So to start off with, I'm going to go to a question that came up before because I think it's a good one that everybody can get involved in. So and I had this anyway. So the first question is going to be, should I good start. I've not wrote it properly, that's the problem. Should I be going for VAT or should I be avoiding it? Yeah, so everybody here I know has had that. I know some people here pay it. I've got businesses that pay it and some that don't pay it. And when I say don't pay it, I mean we're not at the threshold, we're not dodging it. And for my take straight away is it all depends. So if your business has got potential to grow way beyond the VAT limit, you should be smashing through it and beyond. If you've got a business that maybe is going to be around about the VAT limit, that's when you make an educated decision. I think it's all about knowing where you're going and what the potential of the business is. Mm-hmm. It's not about, and obviously I'm going to put this to the floor, but it's not about ego and going, VAT businesses are bigger and therefore better. Clearly, once you get past that limit, there's something else to consider, and that's about being a responsible business owner and knowing where you are and where you go, and you should be factoring it in whether you're going to grow to that point or not. So, Kieran, I'll come to you first because you're next to me. What's your experience of VAT and whatnot?
First one is, as a service-based business, you don't have to do the 20% VAT. So you can go, if you've got a good accountant, go to your accountant. As a service-based business, you can go on what's called lower VAT rate, I think it's called. Flat rate, that's it. And it's 8.6%. So it shouldn't be that scary at that. And obviously the problem is that if you buy loads of equipment, loads of kit, you can't claim back your VAT. But if it's 8.6%, what's inflation at? God knows, really. Like it's probably every year it's going up 5, 6, 7%. So to go over it, it actually is probably just one price increase for your members. And I think if you structure that correctly, like what we talked about with your business and how you deliver it, as you go through that, you increase the service and stuff like that, because you should be, because you're probably getting to that level where you're past the lifestyle sole trader, then it just makes sense to go through it and just plan for it effectively with your accountant. Because it's not like you go over that number and it's like, yep, that's it, now you've got to pay that money. It happens over a period of time, so it can be planned for it if you do it correctly. But yeah, for most people, it's the main income. It's probably inevitable that you're going to have to go over it at some point.
The flat rate, basically, sorry, just to reiterate, it means you can't claim VAT back on anything, right? So at the 20%, you get to claim VAT back on purchases you've made. But in a service base, you're not making loads of purchases that are reclaimable. So overall, it should save you money, but it might not be the 100% best one. So it's still worth checking, but it's probably going to be your best way of doing it.
What's your thoughts?
Well,
does that include like the cost of safety the mats, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That goes down as an expense, you're not claiming back the VAT, but you're putting it down as an expense. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, you can still claim it as an expense, but you can't claim back the VAT. But you can. It's still a operational cost of the business, but you can't claim back the VAT.
And then you put it down as an asset.
It's just everything else stays the same. You just can't claim the VAT back.
So in my last gym, obviously we had 350 members, and we weren't VAT registered because we had multiple businesses inside one building, which obviously a lot of people do. My personal recommendation from juggling that is just do the 8.5%.
Yeah.
That's genuinely my personal recommendation. As in, like in my current gym now, when we hit the threshold, I've got it all timelined out and scaled. So I'm just gonna go when the turnover hits enough that I predict in 12 months we'll hit the 91k. Because you know it's gonna be 12 months. It's not like when you hit like say you hit 9k turnover a month, you're not going to be VAT then. It's 12 months after. So I would predict when it's going to hit, and then I would just line it up with increase my memberships by like 5%, and then I'll just swallow the 3.5% myself. So I won't take the whole 8.5% on the business. I'll up the membership by 5%, probably put on like an extra class or two, validate that, and then obviously just swallow a little bit of the cost. But it's worth noting as well that you can only earn X amount within the first year on the flat threshold on the 8.5%. You can earn like X amount in a year. I can't remember the exact
I think
threshold.
it's 150k.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I thought it was
Yeah,
150K,
something like that. Yeah.
So you can push up to that within that 12 months, and then you can go above it after that 12 months. So you just have to obviously just think through beforehand.
A few key facts for anyone that's not sure about VAT, because obviously no one cares, I suppose, until it becomes a very realistic proposition. Yeah. VAT is paid on revenue, not profit, which is a big thing to factor in. So if you earn 100k a year, you're paying 20k in VAT, even if you don't make a profit. So you've got to really think ahead of what you're doing. Whereas income tax and dividend tax and corporation tax is all paid on profit. So if your business has got very small margins, you probably don't want to be going over that until you've figured out your systems and actually got your profitability up. But then at the same time, I think a few presentations have covered it today. We shouldn't be avoiding investing in our businesses to save money, because it actually costs you more in a lot of the time. So if you're trying to stay under the VAT threshold to avoid paying 8.5%, when really you could smash through it and make way more and then make more profit than you would staying under VAT, then again it's costing you money to not go over VAT. So it all depends. If you've got a business model where you're looking for 200-300 members, you should be smashing through VAT. If you've got a lean business model that's maybe lower members, lower costs, that might be when you can stay under. But there's no right or wrong. It's about the business model that you're actually building.
I think timing it as well. When you know it's coming, because you can predict it, it's trying to time marketing, intake, capacity to be able to boost past it. The worst way it can happen is you go just over it and you go just over it and you stay just over it, and it will cost you like that. If you can get just over it or completely bypass it, it's a 91k threshold, is it? So 91. So if you earn 94, 95, it's rough. If you earn 120, it doesn't feel that bad. So I'm not saying it's that easy. It sounds silly, doesn't it? Saying sort of like a lot of money, but it's planning and essentially trying to target, hammering past it, not just creeping.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next question. Before I do this question, I just wanted to say something. So one of the reasons I've got two gym owners speaking today, obviously free, but I mean small group PT gym owners, which is technically a different industry, is purely because that industry is a lot older. So these people have been running these gyms for 10 years, and what that does is allow you to see kind of loads of problems that crop up. So I've tried to give you business owners that, and Ash is the same, and that's why with Ash's systems, it's almost coming from like previous mistakes, and I've put this in place. Yeah. Like he's realised he needs a robot to clean rather than a human. There's probably a reason for that. So we're trying to give you.
Link after this, guys.
Yeah. But the point is, we're trying to. If there's an answer, it's based on an actual rationale, even if it's not quite right for you or you don't agree with it. It's based on like you can only know how to make your business unstealable. And like when someone tries to steal it, do you know what I mean? So that's actually, we might sit here and go, nobody would ever take my business, but why not put the systems in place to make it that can't be done to you? And that can only come from experience. So even, because some of these questions, I think these two here might answer differently to what our industry might traditionally say, and just take from it what's relevant and obviously fill in the gaps for yourself. Because there's a question here now that's going to be completely different. But again, I think this question will be answered differently in 5 years' time. So the question here is, what should I be paying my staff? So I'm going to take that as rates, and should the person be employed, self-employed? Should they be put on a retainer? Should they be paid by the hour? This industry at the moment is very much paid, in my opinion, quite high, but just because it's hourly. Because at the end of the day, if you're paying someone 20 hours a week, that's going to naturally bring the hourly rate down because you're paying them a much higher and guaranteed retainer. If you're paying them an hour a week and that could disappear at any time, you're going to pay them much higher. It's like danger money, isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's like if you had a plumber and he's at your house every day, you're going to pay them like a salary type wage.
Retainer,
anybody's salary in any industry would be a lot lower if you're literally paying for. It's like I said, danger money. So to put this to you guys, what's your take on how I should pay my staff?
Who wants to open up?
I think
Do you want to go from your...
I think
go,
it's best
Stan.
to maybe say what you're maybe doing. That
Yeah.
might be the easiest way, and then
So
rushing out.
I'm in my current gym. I've just got one coach aside from myself, and I offered him a base salary based on the amount of students that were in the gym. So basically, his pay will scale with the gym's scale, but the hours wouldn't necessarily change or differ. So if he's coaching 10 hours a week now, but he's only getting like £600 or something, you know, based on how many students we got. When we get to like 150 members, he'd be on £2,000 for the same amount of work. So basically, the interest was for both of us to scale the gym. And I would only do that for one coach in my gym. The head coach, the guy who's like leading most classes.
The right person, yeah, has to be that.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm.
And then the second, when I do grow to like, I've got it written down, it's like 170 members, I will take on an assistant coach for the kids, but that will just be paid per hour for kids coaching. And it will just be like £20 or £30, like it won't be mega bucks. But it's just an incentive to have another body on the mats for that head coach to help the class. I just think if you don't treat your coaches right, and again from personal experience, they will leave.
Yes.
They will leave. You know, and they'll screw you over in the process because they'll take the students, they'll empty classes, they'll try to open up next door. Loads of different things with that, you know. But I think a scaling model with one coach at least is a good way to keep everyone's interest aligned. Because if your coach, if your coach is doing all the work and you're traveling the world or doing whatever you're doing, and he's like loudly like this count, he's like, there's 50 guys in this, man, I'm getting paid 30 quid. I'm like, well, if I just open up next door, I'll take
50.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take the guys with me. You know, so I think a scaling model like that, it has got a ceiling. So when we hit 200 members, his base salary will level out, and then he'll just get a profit share of the company. Yep.
So I think for you guys, I think it's a really good model, and it's something that I've tried to take into a small gym before, because essentially you guys train up your potential coaches, isn't it? You get them to a point, and then you can go, would you like to do this for a little bit? And maybe you can start bringing them in. They come in under your system, under your curriculum. They understand the gym, all that sort of stuff. It's not really possible in our industry. I wish it was. In the standard in a gym, I know a few of you have been in that sort of industry, is you pay rent. You pay to work in a gym as a personal trainer. So my last gym that was around the corner from me, I paid £750 a month to work there, and then I had to earn what I could on the gym floor, and then I took whatever was left after that. So with that being in mind, the role is completely different. Most gyms pay an hourly rate, if that, or they make you work instead of rent. So they'll pay you nothing, but you can work there for free. I do both in my gym. So I pay them not loads, decent money, about £15 an hour, so just over minimum wage, but they're only working, say, 8-10 hours. So I pay them that little bit of money, but it comes with free gym rent. In most gyms like mine, if they were to work and get paid, they'd be expected to pay it all, if not more, of that money back into the gym. So it would be rent-based and paid, or not paid and no rent. I do both. So I pay them, and then I give them the rent for free. So in the system, it means that if you get paid £600, say, for doing your hours, you can now use my gym, our facility, as a business to house your own business, and they can go away and get their own clients and earn another £1,000 in the process. So it becomes a base for their business, which allows them to earn more money and basically unlimited. They can do their own thing. But for me, no matter how you're doing it, if you're going to create a long-term and a good quality staff member, you need to get them bought into your gym, your standards, your systems, to be part of it. And that's why you might give somebody an incentive like that, but it has to be the right person. If somebody's earning a decent bit of money from me, enjoys coaching the sessions, gets on with the members, and has a business based in there that earns them £1,000 a month, they're probably not going to go anywhere. The likelihood of them leaving is lower, so I think there's a win-win for everybody. So it costs me a little bit more than it would most people with a gym like mine, but I'd rather have that to have the right people in there. And I still get dickheads, it happens. So.
And you do it differently, don't you, Kieran?
Yes.
'Cause obviously, I don't think anybody, maybe a couple of franchises at the minute do it like Kieran, but obviously, as I said, that industry is a little bit more sophisticated right now. and I think that's where this industry is going to go. So
Yeah.
this is another model for you.
So I've got a head coach as such who's been with me 8 years now, and he's on salary, so he's 36 hours a week. I think I pay him like 27 and a half grand a year, and he's full member of staff like he would be if he had a job doing whatever. So that's one member of staff I have, and then I've got 2 others who would pay kind of. I don't do per session because, like Lloyd said, I want them bought into what I do. So I've done it that before, where you've just got coaches coming in covering sessions, and you will lose quality doing that. So they're bought into what we do. So they get so many hours a week. So they get a shift, which is 3 hours coaching, 2 hours admin. So it'll be cleaning, it'll be doing social media posts, it'll be doing posting as group, it'll be doing a seminar for us members, it'll be doing different things. So they actually look like a member of staff and not just someone who's covering my hours as such. So yeah, I've got one at the moment is a new PT, which is a nutritionist as well. So I pay her like 12 hours coaching a week plus 8 hours she has to do nutrition, which means she does consultations with clients, she does modules, she does Q&As, and that's why we've allowed to charge a little bit more recently, because she's bought a brand new kind of level of service as opposed to what we do.
What you've got to bear in mind is Kieran's business. As much as everyone here has been in business for years, that business is probably the oldest one on the stage right now. So he's almost built it to a point where it's very, very stable and predictable, which allows you to give salaries out. Obviously, a lot of us here are on the way up. So we maybe at the minute we have to put systems in place staff-wise that allow a little bit of less risk involved. Because if Kieran lost 50 members tomorrow, you've still got to pay those salaries. So, but as you grow and it becomes more predictable, it's actually a better deal for you to pay the salaries a lot of the time, especially as far as an hourly rate. So it's just something to bear in mind for the future. Has anyone got anything they want to add or specific to them? Ask any questions on salaries?
So it is worth noting everything I say up here is hypothetical. This is prediction of what I plan to happen, by the way, because my gym's new. So as in, the systems are in place, like, in a year's time I come back and speak like, guys, look, it all went fucking P-Tom.
I tried.
Was there a question for
What
you?
was the point where you realised that you had to hire somebody else and personally take a step back? Was it due to the volume of work, or was it always something that you kind of had in the pipeline?
I think for me it's that line in the sand moment.
Yeah, I'm with him.
Do you know what I mean? Where I was like, I'm doing all the coaching, which is 30 odd hours a week, plus marketing, sales, admin, accounting, all these other jobs. And it's like, right, what do I need to outsource? And coaching's the easiest one to do, because other stuff you're still probably working at yourself. I'm still shit with socials and accounting and all that stuff. I still have to have help with all that. So coaching's the easiest one to kind of outsource in a lot of ways.
And was there like you mentioned earlier, a trigger point, like a certain amount of members where you're like, I can't take this anymore?
Yeah, I think it's just energy levels as well in yourself. Like, you know when your coaching's getting a bit sloppy, and you know when you're like, when your wife's like, oh, what do you want to do this weekend? You're like, fuck, nothing. And she, at that point where she's like, I'm probably going to leave you. I probably went to get a member of staff. It's easier to get a member of staff than a new wife. So I'll do that.
So with that said, I opened both of my gyms knowing that I was getting members of staff. So I didn't ever open one of them thinking that I was going to do the whole thing. I had people in mind straight away. I was a manager at another gym. I was the PT manager, and I had 30 coaches. So as I left there, I just took the best one with me. And I just left the shit behind, took him with me, and he's still working there now. And then I think being open to that, I think it gets you into that mindset, because that's what I said before about the reason to have a system, a curriculum. This is what we do. This is why we're good at it. This is what we believe in. This is what we teach. It means that I can pass that on. There was never a point in any of my gyms where I was like, what we're doing today, when all the members were in there, oh, I wonder if we're doing squats today. There was never that. It was always a periodized, it was always pre-programmed, it was built on the philosophy of why we think you should train this way. That's why we built the gym. So that was always the thing. So then bringing somebody in and going, this is the system, you can train it, it makes that simpler. You're not trying to get something out of your head, it was already there. So I think it's, obviously it all circles back around to each other, isn't it? But the system stuff you were talking about before is really important.
Well, it's that book that Ash mentioned before, isn't it? The E-Myth,
the E-Myth
teaches
stuff,
you
yeah.
to build a system that other people can run and
That's
don't make
why
your
I
business
would
run
read
out
that
of
book.
people.
But the reason I went for a scaling salary from my coach because I knew I needed a coach because I compete myself. I travel to seminars myself, so I needed flexibility in life. And I said to him, like, man, look, I'll pay you per class if you want, I'll pay you a good rate. But I said, when I'm in my own gym, I'm just going to teach my own classes. So like your salary will just fluctuate depending on like if I'm in the country or not.
Yeah, when you're there,
I said to him, but if you scale with me, regardless of you're or not, you'll still get paid because if we got enough members, you'll get paid per member, not per hour you teach. I actually debate this a lot of gym owners because a lot of people are really obsessed with per hour paying people. And I'm like, well, man, if this guy brings 50 people to your mats twice a week, why are you obsessed with if he does 2 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours a week? It makes no difference. It's just what the worth he brings to the business as a net. Because I've seen some people add classes to their timetable just to be able to pay coaches more. I'm like, why would you do that? Like, it makes no sense. You're actually putting strain on the system just to like quantify to yourself why you pay another human being. Like if my gym, or when my gym gets to 200 members and my coach is getting £2,000+ a month for sometimes 2 hours coaching a week, I won't begrudge him at all. Like he helped me get to the 200 members. As in, like, and I get the quality of life that I've always wanted. I get to travel. Like man, sometimes I play 2-3 rounds of golf a week. I'm 33, and I just do jiu-jitsu. It's nuts when you think. When I think about it,
it's crazy.
It's nuts. Like like that's why I don't coach every hour under the sun because I want quality of life. For sure. I think that is where you've got to outsource, but you've got to outsource smart because if you hire fast and you get the wrong people, they'll collapse your business, and then you have to double the amount of work you're doing or triple the amount of work you're doing to build it back, and then you'll lose out long term.
Yeah. Let's move to the next question. Just last thing I want to say for anybody that's
when you're employing them, are you employing them sort of PAYE, doing all the NI and all the rest of it, or are you getting?
So for my head coach right now, I pay him on invoice as a self-employed because he's still scaling. Once he maxes to his salary and we've capped to the highest level, I'll transfer him onto PAYE. Because I'll know consistently then what he's getting every month because cap is it's like that the ceiling.
Yeah, most will start on like a self-employed basis because obviously it's a lot more flexible.
Just because of that, because I know the gym in Australia just happened. If you are invoicing the same person, the same amount of money for the same amount of hours every week,
you can.
They can sue you, and they'll win.
For holidays,
It depends.
I mean, because you're employing them.
Speak to your accountant because some are a bit more lenient than others. But my accountant is big on if they're doing the same hours for the same return, and it's the same set hours, not even the number of hours. Like if it's like Monday night, Wednesday morning, like that, they are employed and you should be doing that. Which is why I keep sort of dancing around a little bit at the minute. But
you have got to be careful.
You have got to be aware of that. Yeah.
There's benefits and again, just to be clear, a few of these things, it's all about what your business model is. Like self-employed, employed is kind of not a right answer. It just depends on your business model. Last thing I'll say for anybody that's only ever had 1 or 2 members of staff, they will eventually leave you. So don't build your whole business around certain people. Even if they stay, that's a bonus. But like, I've had about 100 members, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but maybe 10 members of staff I always thought would always be there. And then obviously if you build it all around them, you're like what Ash basically said, you're almost rebuilding your business again. So build a system that anybody can run, and if they're great at it, that's a bonus. We're going to try and move quicker through the questions just because we're not going to get through them all anyway. But next one, how can I increase the prices for my current members? I'm going to add this little bit of context. They're having a rent increase, so it makes sense that they need to. So sometimes, again, they have a trigger, sometimes they don't. But how would everybody here increase the prices for current members?
I talked about this before. We want you to go.
Yeah, well, I obviously had to do this. I moved to a new facility and the rent went up double. Plus, I had to invest 18 grand into new kit. But the business model was changing on what we're doing. So if you're just saying, "Hi guys, coming in for jiu-jitsu, my rent's gone up, you need to pay an extra £6." People who don't run businesses don't understand the economics behind it. Like we talked about earlier, it's value for them. So you can't just go to people and go, "My rent's gone up, so all you guys have got to pay an extra £1 to cover that," because they go, "You pay for it. You've got a business owner.
It's your business.
You're driving around in a nice car. They see that. So you've got to be a bit smart, and you've got to increase the value for the customer. So if your rent's gone up or prices always go up. You've just got to keep delivering more and kind of make sure that value's there, so you can kind of justify why they're paying £90 or whatever instead of £60.
I think it depends on the thing with that for me. I think if it's a small enough increase just to cover the rent increase, say it was £5, I probably wouldn't say much.
Yeah.
If you've taken up £10, I'd just go, the price increase come in. I'd do it on email really early, like I said before, really early. Your price is currently this. As of this date, it will be this. Due to rising costs and whatever, bills and something like that, just really plainly put it simply and say, if anyone wants to have a chat with me about it, I'm open to text me, call me, whatever you're happy with, and let it go for 2 or 3 months, because if it's that small amount, you'll get barely anybody that says anything. But the people that do, you can literally tell them, you can be like, we're growing up, my rent's going up, the bills are going up, I need to, or else it's not, it's not feasible for me. And they'll just go, yeah. And they'll either will or they won't. And if they leave, you get somebody else in who'll pay it. Like people will leave no matter what. If it's over a tenner, they're not going to be your client forever anyway. If you're having to really increase it, then I'd look at what you can add to the program, what you can add to the value.
There's a big difference. Like I remember increasing my price £10, thinking this is not a problem. 24 people left. Fuck, I didn't expect that. But like say, if you're getting, at the time I was getting 6-7 new members every month. In 4 months, you're back to where you were anyway, with people paying more. So you've covered that problem in 4 months. You just have to plan for it. When I moved to this new facility last time, I'm increasing price by £50, and we lost 58 people. That's because I didn't communicate it properly. So like Lloyd said, everyone knew we were opening a new place, but that takes 3 months for you to get it kitted out, painted, everything's up to standard. In that time, you've then got to think about how you communicate. Because people are not daft. They're like, oh, we're moving to a new facility, getting all this new kit. You're obviously going to put price up, and you've got to make sure you communicate that correctly. And that's one lesson I learned, is that I probably didn't. Because you're going to get it in the middle of a session. People could be squatting and going, you're trying to focus on coaching. And as a business owner, what I've always found is people will be like, so how much is the price going to be at your gym? Flat to your face. At that point, what do you do? If you go, it's going to be a 50 quid more, the class is going to stop. And everyone's going to be like, what?
Screech, yeah.
Shit, what's going on? So how you communicate it, and probably that's where I went wrong when I did it. I probably didn't communicate it well enough. I just thought people, we're moving to a new gym, it's going to be sick. I'd pay 50 quid more.
I think
don't mean everyone else is.
If you go in a big change, this is slightly off topic, but in the Manchester gym, we went from a small basement into a big sort of ground floor space, and I doubled the membership when we moved. We didn't take it as, oh shit, like it's going to be I took it as it's a brand new gym. I'm opening it. I fucking hit it. Did everything I could. Ads, leaflets, got out on the street, spoke to people, just did everything I could. Not only did I take the price up, I almost doubled my membership. So it's the opportunity that it's what you make of it, right? It's not doesn't have to happen like that. This rent increase could be a little thing that you let happen.
It's a positive,
to
me or through me, yeah.
So it could just happen, and you could try and deal with it, or you fucking run it, give it a proper go, add some value to it. Don't put your price up 10 quid, put your price up 30 quid and fucking go for it. You never know, like maybe it's the right thing, but make the decisions properly and think them out, but it might be a really good time to do that.
I think the best thing to do, I've not done this, I'll be honest with you, but I've been given this advice and I almost left it too late, but if you're early on, the best advice I've been given is to be proactive with it, not reactive. Like everyone here who's, I've done it as well, it's reactive and it's no one else's problem but yours. The best thing to do, and for this is pretty much guaranteed, just do a little price increase every year at the turn of the year or probably January or whatever, and just ingrain it into your culture. Every year we've got a £5 price increase, no one bats an eyelid. 5 years move on, your prices have gone up by 25 quid, just slightly above inflation maybe. Nobody cares, not enough for anyone to notice. It's hard now to do that when you've had 6 years without doing it, but if you're early on, that is the best advice I've ever been given that I didn't take myself. So we're going to move on to the next questions because we've got quite a few still to go through, so this is a good one. So when is the right time to add classes to my schedule?
So I have a system for this one, if you want it. So I won't entertain speaking about this with members until the class that they think is too busy is fully attended for 6 weeks on the bounce. Because people are fast to tell you that they need a bigger they need more classes when they are slightly inconvenienced because they missed 1 week. But if they don't show up for the next 3 weeks, that's then not their problem. That's they don't care. And then with this, my other big one is listening to them too much. You know what would be really good for me? 2:30 session, that'd be great. I finish work at 1, so 2:30 would be mint, and no one else can fucking get there. You're gonna put a class on for one person. So you can't listen to basically anyone's opinion. You can only listen to the numbers. If you've got a mat that can fit 50 on it and you're getting 50 every week, if you put another session on right after it, it'll probably split it at first. So instead of it getting 50 on one, you'll probably get 30 on that and 20 on the other. It won't both be 50 straight away, but over time it'll start evening out and start increasing. But my system is, and me and Josh worked on this for years, haven't we? Like, that class has to be fully attended for 6 weeks before I can even then think about putting on the timetable. Because then that is the numbers telling me this is the right thing to do, not my emotion. I've been there. This 7 a.m. is massive, you know. Fucking hell, get the 6 a.m. on one person on each session for the next 6 weeks. I was like, fuck. Then you've got to take it off because it's costing you money. And it looks awful taking classes off the timetable. It looks like a failure to everybody.
Yeah.
So like, make sure it's the right thing.
What about you, Ash?
I disagree strongly, basically, with what Lloyd said. So when I opened my gym, we did 4 adults, 4 kids classes, and I was like, oh, why don't you put more classes on? I was like, well, there's no one in those classes right now. There's none. And they're like, so what if you when I said, oh, my kids classes aren't picking up as well as I thought, someone said, oh, why don't you split the time and do different kids' age groups? I was like, oh, I was saying, cancel 2 classes. Because there's less classes, then the demand to the classes will go up.
Yeah.
Down. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's just supply and demand.
Yes.
So the way I look at it is just fill your current classes. And then, for example, I know gyms, like, it's a bane for gyms is when they got to cancel a class. Like, but really it was your fault if you got to take class at a time, because you probably should just put it on in the first place. You set yourself a failure. So in my gym, like, we put an open mat on like every other Saturday, and my members like, oh my god, I can't believe you put all this extra stuff on for us. I'm like, yeah, those 8 hours I work a week are really hard. You know?
Daytime classes.
Daytime?
Daytime classes.
No, 5 p.m. till 6,
Right,
kids,
yeah.
6 till
You're
7,
not gonna do
adults. Until I get to 150 members, I will not work more. I refuse, man. I refuse. Because they're not full, they're not
They're not
busy,
full.
they're not full. Like, why put more on to do more work for less?
Yeah.
So basically what I said is that the numbers, again, I've mapped it all out. When I hit 150 members, I hit 160, I put 1 extra class on. Hit 170, 2 classes. 180, 3.
That's why. Sorry.
You're going-
I was just gonna say that's why the capacity number is so important, because if you know you can service 150 members and you've got 40 classes on, something's wrong. All of them are going to be empty. That's not going to be right. So it's being almost close to that number as much as you can. If you can only take 70 members and you've got 65, the gym's buzzing. You put that extra class on and create another 20 spaces, 30 spaces. When you've got 10 more clients, the gym stays at a really good environment rather than having sessions where 1, 2, 3 people are turning up and it's not buzzing. Sorry.
My point in the jiu-jitsu space in particular is, if you work off of, like had some good points about like working backwards from what you want to achieve. But say, for example, your goal is to pay yourself £3,000, or whatever you want it to be, right? Like, you could probably achieve that with such minimal classes on the timetable. You really could. Like, you don't need 10 classes a day to achieve like what I class as like not an insane amount of money for a gym to turn over, right? But once you get to the point where you're like, right, I'm happy and I don't need to take any more from this business. If the business increases more, you can just afford to add more because you don't need to take more. That's what I thought about it. Because when I get to 150 members, me and my wife and my head coach, we can all take enough money to live comfortably, and the gym, overheads, everything's covered, the lot. So my point is, if I have 10 extra students sign up, we get to 160 members. If I pay, say, yourself to run a morning class for me £40, that's £160 a month it's going to cost me. But I know there's 10 extra members on the books because I've added, because I'm at scaling, so I'm earning £700 more a month for the gym. So for 1 extra class to be on my timetable, the net profit of the business has to be £500 plus. So I just did it on numbers purely, like literally Saturday, when I hit this numbers, I was put a poll in my group. What class would you like added? Monday, 6 a.m. or 10 a.m. Pick one, everyone votes, add one. And then when I get to next 10 members, I'll do the same thing. Honestly, when people go like, oh, I compared to other gyms in the city and they've got more classes, I just go like,
yeah, go then.
Good for them.
People don't join as well for the most classes, they join for the most classes that they can personally attend.
Yes.
So what Ash has done is he's got a brilliant customer journey for people that like evenings. If he just suddenly whacked on at 10 a.m. on Monday, that actually doesn't solve anything, because the chances are people that can do 6 p.m.s, they probably can't do 10 a.m. If they can, they could do it 3 more, so they could actually make
They
that
do
their
a
full
journey, yeah.
customer journey.
The point is you just find 100 people who want to do 6 p.m.
Yeah,
You-
and that's a
you-
very
you
lean
just-
business, yeah.
That's
We,
my, yeah.
we now use, this is a marker of somebody who set up a gym that they don't know what's coming. And one opened near our Stockport one, and it was like, you know, new gym coming and whatever, so we're like, oh, you know, one opened literally down the road. I'd look, the timetable had like 30 classes on it, he was opening. I'm like, that's not lasting. And yeah, he struggled. The timetable halved within a few months, because he was at every session, it was just him, empty, one person, two, because he had 6, 7 sessions on a day. And he was destined to fail with that timetable. Like, he'd have been well better putting on 8 sessions a week and having a few people at him. But some people just think the more they put on, the more it'll fill up. Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, I think the overriding thing from this is do it based on data rather than
Yes.
emotion, and that comes from experience, because I had about 100 messages over the last 10 years from clients that say, I need a 4 p.m. and what they'll do as well is they'll say, Derek and John do as well.
Yeah, loads of
And
people
there's
have
about
told
10
me.
others that want it. It's like, well, actually, for the session to make sense, I need 30. So,
Yeah.
but also, no one likes to go back and forth and say no. But if you're making a decision based on data, the whole thing makes sense. So when we actually get to this point, we'll put it on. It's not me saying yes or no, it's the data doing it for me.
Just to dip on that point, right? If someone messaged saying 10 of us want a Friday night class, I just respond with, awesome, are you going to pay more? They want more. If they want to include in their current membership, I just go, what business would do that? Where's the logic? You're already paying this much money for this much. Now you're asking for more,
Yep.
but you also don't want to pay more. I'm like, you're mental.
I've had it
Like,
this
you're
week
literally
with
mental. Like,
aircon. You're going to get aircon? Yeah, and I'm going to double all your memberships.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
That's it.
Well, it's
Right.
exactly the same.
That's the only way it's happening.
We've got aircon. Done this.
Right, moving to the next question. So let's pick one out here. So this one's for Ash. We'll just make this a quick one. So I'm looking to launch. Sorry about this, mate.
No, go.
I'm looking to launch kids jiu-jitsu.
Don't.
Right. Obviously, some people bunch it up into different age groups and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
If you were to do that, what age group would you start with first?
Okay, so I've actually just split my kids' classes. So I started 4 classes. They were from the age 7 up, and now I'm adding 2 30-minute classes for 5 to 7-year-olds, just because demand was there. And basically from coaching and watching the kids, the kids that were like 6, 7 interacting with 9, 10-year-olds, it was just making for a bad product for both people. So I've gone for 7 and below. You can go as low as 4, but I'm not a big fan of babysitting. So I go 5, 6, 7, then I go 8 plus, and about 13 to 14, I say you can go to adults. But if you want to coach kids, do it because you enjoy coaching kids, not because you want to add stuff to the business.
Yeah.
Because if you're a black belt, if you take the thing I said earlier about like a person off the street coming in and saying, are you a black belt, you're a purple belt, you could 100% convince you're a black belt, right? If a 5-year-old walks in and says, are you a black belt, you can say what the fuck you want. Do you know what I mean? You can be like, mate, I've got all the belts. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. Like, basically, your interactions with the child is more important than your skill at the sport when they're a child. So if you're going to hire for a kids coach, I would literally completely ignore, almost close to ignore skill level, and just be like, look, can you communicate with kids? Can you work with kids? Have you worked with kids? Have you got experience? And if you yourself are not passionate about coaching kids, don't put it on your timetable, because it will start becoming the bane of your life. 100%. I love coaching kids, but I don't particularly love the younger group. So I've got an assistant coach who deal with that group themselves. I think that's the easiest advice I can give. Is like, look, you can get 150 adults anyway. You don't need to put kids on your timetable if you're not passionate about it. But if you want to get kids coaches, don't go for good jiu-jitsu, go for good people skills. And remember, kids' classes are double the problem because there's a kid and a parent. Yeah, they're 2 customers in one. One adult pays, 1 customer problem. Parent pays, child, 2 problems. So if you're really not passionate, you're doubling your effort, and kids pay less money. Think about it. If you think about like the business model as a whole, coaching kids has to be because you love it, because you're getting paid less to do more. Do you know what I mean? So I would just consider that truly in your model going forward. And even outsourcing the kids program, someone loves, say, like Lloyd came here, Ash, man, I love coaching kids. I'm like, mate, we'll just go 50-50 of the program. I don't have nothing to do with it. Literally, these 2-hour slots are yours a week. You coach kids program, we'll just do all the memberships at the front desk. We'll just split the memberships in half. You take half, I take half. And basically, it's completely outsourced, and the business still thrives, essentially. If you've got to oversee the business of the kids, but you hate dealing with kids and parents, again, just absolute waste of investment and time. Yeah.
Has anyone got any? I've got a couple more questions here, but before I look to the final two, has anyone got any questions they want to bring up? Really want to answer today?
Yeah, I did have a question about these client avatar that you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So are you doing any like data capture to create these avatars, or are you basing it more off the product that you think you're trying to sell, and then creating an avatar and then targeting that avatar?
Yeah.
Or is the imagined customer what you're going to base the product off?
Yeah. You look, but both are right. You can do either. If you know the sort of person you've got, and like say you've got them in your gym, so you know much about them already, a lot about them already. What you could do is survey those members. So you, yeah. I'd ask them sort of questions like, what were they looking for when they found you? What they'd tried before? Why it didn't work? What keeps them coming back to you? And then start marketing and building products around those answers. That's your 100%. And then if they give you stuff that you weren't aware of, often it's language stuff again. They'll use terms or tell you what they were searching for. Surely there's not still guys asking if you do UFC, right? I bet you still get the odd lead come through like that. Yeah. But so if they're searching for stupid stuff, but it leads them to you, there's somewhere in your marketing where you could potentially talk about it.
So just say that we actually do an anonymous survey in our gym every 3 months. Just for just generic feedback from customers, an anonymous survey to see what they think about the current product, classes, and anything they think.
Oh, this is like a service feedback form.
Yeah, I think it's worth doing.
I
to
think
get some stuff.
Do you do that through Mac?
No, we currently just use like Google Forms.
Google Forms.
Anonymous.
So the one I'm saying there, what I would do if I was you, I'd create that form specifically for feedback for the avatar, and send it to the 5, 8, 10 people that you've got. And ask them, can you do me a favour? Just fill this out because I'm trying to get some stuff ready for the market. The people that are the perfect client are going to help you out and give you 5 minutes of the time and fill it out. You should absolutely be getting feedback from your clients as well, like that, yeah.
I swear too much.
Just to one of the avatar thing, because, like, again, I think this industry is going to niche down more and more and more. Like, when you're the only one in your area, you don't need to. We just service everybody. But when you're 10 in your area, what you don't realise is everyone's looking at a certain style of club. Like, some people want a club that maybe primarily does gi. Some want a family-friendly club where the kids can go as well. Some want a club where they do MMA, even if they don't do MMA, which is a bad one. But you get that, don't you? Where you get loads of guys that they come to your club because, same as well for Amber, like, because you do MMA, even though I used to get guys at my old gym that did MMA that just come to do S&C, but they like doing S&C within an MMA gym. But then there's some guys that couldn't think of anything worse and just want to go to a grappling only gym where everyone's grapplers. And do you know what I mean? Every single one is a different niche, and you're going to need to pick a corner, otherwise you're just vanilla. And that's the worst thing you can be. And the fitness industry, again, a few years ahead has shown that. Like, my niche originally was we do group training in that area. Now it's not, well, eventually evolved into beginners strength training for high rocks, whereas again, you didn't need to do that 10 years ago. So that's what the point of the avatar is. It's not to give you a smaller audience. It's to be more attractive,
more
to
direct,
that smaller audience. Like Ash said, people don't like him swearing, but I guarantee you, some people love him swearing, and then a big raging super fans because of it.
It'll get one of the things you have to do loads with the sales hero stuff as well as obviously the marketing. You're constantly thinking of hooks, right? That's what they'll give you. If somebody's come to your gym because they've been to the gym down the road and everyone was shit and they were just battering everyone all the time, that's your next hook. You're sick of finding rubbish opponents on our mats. This is what we've got here. Like, it becomes your next style of marketing because they've told you exactly why they found you.
Any more questions? Okay, I'll move on to a question on here then. So I've got a question. So we'll just hammer through some of these quickly so everyone gets the questions answered. So I've got a question, how can I secure funding? So I'll pass that over, but just very quickly, obviously it depends. If you're looking to get investment, my answer straight away would be like, can you raise the investment yourself within your own profits? Because the clear way to get investment is to get a loan, which obviously comes with interest, get an investor, which comes with somebody else making decisions, and be careful what you wish for an investor, which can be great, but also can be not great. But yeah, I'll just pass that over. We'll just bash through this one quickly. Has anyone got anything added? Anyone ever raised funding?
I'm just get your own money.
Yeah.
Just invest in yourself. Right? If you invest in yourself, you're gonna do the work way harder, and you're gonna want to make it properly successful. If I was gonna scale into other gyms, I might have invested in terms of like to show proof of concept from my gym, and then make another one and double up, that blueprint multiple times, which is in my pipeline like 5-year plan. But like as in, if you're starting your own gym, I would just put your money where your mouth is and invest and back yourself. With regards to funding from the government, I actually did when I opened my gym. So we managed to get 2 10K grants, and I sweet talked Tommy to give me free mats, which was awesome.
Apply for a grant, we were advised to register a CIC or
So that's actually one. So we registered for funding through CSE. That's one. So we did classes for kids who were struggling in school for the first 3 months we were open, and we received funding for that. We've actually done after-school clubs for schools as well. We got funding for that. We got funding for just making jobs in the area. When we first opened, that was 10K. I don't lie about my like if you ask me like how much money I put in my gym, I would tell you it makes no difference. And like it is where it is, but yeah, I personally think like either giving away shares of your company, I would never do it again. I was part owner of my last gym and literally just ruined my life. I was like, it's horrible. Hated it.
My advice for stuff like this with people opening studios, gyms, whatever, is to do it essentially as lean as possible. Yeah. Innit? Because essentially, no matter where that money comes from, even if where it is, you're digging yourself a hole that you have to get out of at some point. So if that's 20 grand and you feel like you've got that in you in months, mint. If that's 100, 200, like if you're looking at like Ash's gym and going, I'm gonna open one of them straight away. It's gonna fit 200 people. I'm gonna have the changing rooms beautiful, and it costs you £100,000 to do. That's £100,000 that you have to earn before you pay yourself anything like that. That comes first. So maybe not comes first, but it's just more and more stress. If you can start with something that's almost doable, maybe a little bit out of reach, and you can start doing some of the stuff yourself, do the painting and stuff like that at first, and put that work in at first if it's right for you. I always remember the time when me and Josh set up our second gym together, and we just started with minimal kits, just coming out of COVID. We put £2,000 in each. We got this little space, we were paying the rent, we put £2,000 in each to buy some kit. We bought some kettlebells and some bars and some racks. A month in, we opened in profit because we hit it hard. A month in, I bought a kettlebell rack. You should have seen them. Could they come in the gym? Bloody hell, look at that. A kettlebell rack, like £100 thing to just put a kettlebell on. They were so impressed because it was a step up. Any addition is met with joy with everybody, right? So if you start okay and increase, add things to it, it'll only get better. If you start too much and have to start taking away, or if it puts more pressure on, it goes the other way, I would say.
Yeah, investment should be lean for sure. Because we used to have the fitness industry 10 years ago, and it's very much happening in the jiu-jitsu industry now, where people are doing fit outs and spending maybe 5 times as much as they would because they can borrow it or they can finance it over time and things. And there's nothing wrong with starting off with 1,000 square foot mats and then adding another 500 square foot when you hit a certain point and another 500. I speak to people all the time where they do a fit out, they spend 50k and then go, I wish I could return that 10k's worth of stuff because nobody cares. And also as well, once you open at that level, you've got to maintain that level. So if you've got an example in a gym, like if you've got a fancy piece of kit, when that breaks, you kind of need to replace it. You've got to keep doing that over time. Whereas if you just start small and keep adding, you've got somewhere to go with that. Okay, let's have one more question for anybody. Has anyone got a question to finish off on? Sam.
We've all sort of started a new gym or new business or moved facilities and stuff. So kind of what you were talking about with having to add the value, what's the main thing you sort of took from the last one that you said, I'll never do that with the new one, or this is
That's
what
good.
I'm going to do it this time, if that makes sense.
Good question.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
for me personally, I would, which one of my friends in Australia just took over a gym. He bought a gym basically, and it had members. And I just said to him, "Oh, like mate, what was when you bought it? What was your intent? Like, what was the end goal? Like, what was the end goal? What did you want to buy the gym for the finished thing to be?" He's like, "Oh well, I've always wanted a gym. I took it over. I just kept the same classes they had. I added more classes so it felt new and fresh, and then I just started teaching other classes." I was like, "So, are you planning to teach 5 classes a day for the next 30 years of your life?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "You're going to keep MMA in your gym for the rest of your life?" He was like, "No, I don't really like MMA either." And I was like, "So why didn't you take it up before you fucking bought a gym?" You know? Like, my point is, like, when I think, like, if you're setting out to if you want to own a gym or own a business, at some point, surely that you have to have an exit ramp. There's got to be on the motorway, there's got to be a point where something's going to happen where you go like, right, I'm happy, content with what I've got. Because you can't just go, when I get 100 members, I'll do this. When I get 200 members, I'll do that. And keep building. You can't build forever, basically, you know? In my last gym, I said, like, we went from 100 members to 300 in, like, 18 months. We did a few changes, and it proper, like, it was like, we were fucked. It was going. We were, like, flying. Higher, 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 higher. More classes. We're like, we'll keep going. We'll keep 350. We're like, fuck, this is unreal. And then we just stopped at 350, whatever it was, whatever that ceiling was, we just could not break through it. But like, for example, in my new gym I've opened, I sat down and I said, right, I need this many students, I want to run this many classes, I want to take this much money from the business, and I want the ability to do this in life. And when I hit that, I will just do that somewhere else again. Like, I think basically people don't consider an exit ramp at all and work themselves to the point where they don't know what they're doing anymore. That's my biggest advice, is if I was going to open a gym again from scratch, which I've just done, I would sit on paper with the person I'm opening a gym with, like, Lloyd, what do you want out of this, mate? Like, what do you actually want? What is the intent behind this? And then roadmap how to do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?